Professional wrestling is the one true sport. Other sports have their share of intense, dramatic moments, but nothing can compare with professional wrestling. Welcome to Wrestling History X, where three friends come together to talk about the stories behind the matches. I'm Matt.
This could be my final message.
And I, Kendo, Kashin.
Welcome to episode 288, Final Power Hall in Tokyo Dome.
Woo! We're back. It's a new year. It's January 4th.
It's 1998.
Wow. 1998.
It's been
I remember
so long.
It is always nice to start the year fresh in the Tokyo Dome. We're like, all right, let's see what we got. It's almost like a clean bill of like health, being like, all right, I'm going to see some solid Japanese wrestling, and then we're going to move on to whatever ECW and WCW and WWF have to cram down our throats for good or bad, and we'll check in a couple times with Japan throughout the year. But it's nice to start with like a disappointing New Japan show. It still has better wrestling than most of the shows that we watch.
The amuse-bouche of every year.
Yeah, for sure.
It is amusing.
So this is the 7th annual Tokyo Dome event produced by New Japan Pro Wrestling. It took place on January 4th, 1998 from the Tokyo Dome in Tokyo, Japan, with an attendance of 55,000 people.
Hell yeah. I mean, the Dome, what's the lowest number the Dome's had? Like 35? And that was like a year or two ago, like COVID years?
Yeah, like 21, 20,
yeah.
21, 22, something like that, yeah.
That was dark times for New Japan.
Absolutely.
We're building back up over there.
But we are in Tokyo, Japan. So Shane, did you do what you do?
Did I ever? Yes. Here we are, kicking it off in 1998 in Tokyo. So yes, I did what I typically do, where I jump on the old interwebs and look up what the fuck is popular in the place that we're going to. Oftentimes it's an extra bit of a challenge to find decent Japanese offerings in Oklahoma City, even though we do have a big Asian district, and we're an international food palace, pretty much.
Speaking of that, did y'all hear John Mulaney drop Super Cow Win in an interview
I heard that
last week?
I did not. No.
Yeah. I haven't actually watched the clip to find out why the hell he was talking about Super Cow
I didn't either, but I know he name dropped it.
That's funny, because I know that like
down the street from my house.
Seems like he does Tulsa, but he doesn't do Oklahoma City. He probably flies private. The guy's loaded. But still, I don't know what he's doing in Oklahoma City, because I feel like if he did play at Oklahoma City, I would attempt to go.
What was going on? Maybe he came for Childish Gambino.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, they were here last week. You never know.
Yeah, he was doing a Type 5 before Dawn Glover came out.
But yes, so I looked around, tried to figure out what the hell can I get in Oklahoma City that's good, because we've had some good stuff, we've had some horribly bad stuff, and I thought, you know what, I want to go somewhere that I know is going to treat me right, look over their menu just to see if they've got anything that I haven't tried yet, and poof, there it was. We went back to our friends over at Goro Ramen, located in the Paseo district here in lovely Oklahoma City, which feels like it's on the face of the fucking sun this week, because it's 112 degrees every goddamn day. But that's not why we're here. We're here to talk about wrestling and food inspired by wrestling shows. So I looked over the menu at Goro Ramen, and they had some pretty pictures that popped out on their DoorDash menu, because I had to see if it would be deliverable. And I found their Japanese steam buns, also known as nikuman. And they've got a few different ones. They have a coconut shrimp one, a shredded tambara. They have a fried pork belly, a fried tofu, and then what we ended up with here, the chicken nikuman, which is panko fried chicken, or a panko fried chicken patty, I should say, with gochujang sauce, pickled daikon, and negi, however you pronounce it, it means green onions. We had steam buns from some place before that were just god-awful, disgusting, horrible taste, horrible smell. Threw it in the trash. Goro has never, ever, ever done me wrong. Whether it's their ramen, their karaage chicken, they had a panko chicken sandwich at one point. It was pretty much like this, only it was on milk bread that was grilled and cut with the crust off, and it was just all nice and perfect and delicious. And yeah, Goro, if you ever come to Oklahoma City, that's a destination restaurant. It's a great food, great experience, a beautiful area to visit anyways.
I got to experience Goro for the first time a few weeks ago.
I've been to Tamashi a bunch, or maybe Tamashi's in the Kaseo district, right? Too.
Tamashi is in Midtown.
Okay, then I've been to Goro and Tamashi. I've been to both the big ramen spots,
yes.
the local ramen spots. There are other ramen spots that are like chains or whatever that I'm sure are fine, but those two I haven't been to. So yeah, I'm wrong. I get them mixed up. They both kind of open around the same.
Yeah, they're both delicious. It just depends on what area you're in, but each one's going to treat you right.
Absolutely.
Goro has these and Tamashi does not. But Tamashi is where I also won the spicy ramen eating contest for the district that I was in.
I remember that from a couple years ago.
Ooh. My stomach remembers it too, because it's been hard to eat ramen since then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to do what I do and try and take a bite on air. You can hear a little bit of the crispy crust on there from the deep fried chicken patty. Goro ramen. Try them. Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
I heard a crunch.
I did too, yeah. Very good. I mean, I've made chicken meatballs before, like grated ginger and whatnot, and this was kind of like just they flattened it out and fried it, but it was even more moist. I think they got some breadcrumbs they mixed in with that chicken.
I wonder which word you're going for.
Wonderful flavor.
I was hoping you were going to say moist just to see if we had any moist haters out there.
Oh, yeah. People need to grow up.
Well, something that would happen right around the same time as this Tokyo Dome show, a pair of movies would hit the theater the next week. Fallen and Half-Baked.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've seen Half-Baked probably 50 times. As a kid who started smoking weed probably a little too young. But what is Fallen?
Fallen is Denzel Washington?
Denzel Washington, John Goodman. It is one of the most underrated movies ever. I recommend Fallen to everybody.
I haven't watched it in forever.
Give me a premise, a vibe.
They are cops. They're going after a serial killer, and there's a supernatural element to it.
Huh. Pretty anti-supernatural, but if it's done well, I don't care. Love Rosemary's Baby.
I don't think I want to go any farther than that.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's enough. It's got Goodman.
It's got Denzel Washington.
And Denzel Washington.
You know it's going to be a good movie.
And it's Denzel in 98.
Yeah.
So it's yeah.
Yeah, it's right in
Do
the
you think maybe it didn't do so well because of something like Seven a couple of years earlier, and there were so many Seven copies that people may have lumped this in with it?
Yeah,
plus it came out in January. So
it's a good point. That's where studios dump movies.
Kind
they
of
don't
dump
believe
movies.
in.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't do well in the theater at all.
Became a cable classic,
but
maybe.
Denzel was coming off of. I mean, he was coming out of an era where he didn't have the most popular movies. You know, they were good. You know, Preacher's Wife, that kind of thing. But they just weren't the Denzel movies that we come to know today.
I mean, we're not hitting
guaranteed Oscar.
What's the big one? You ever get wet?
Training Day?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
I don't like Training Day.
Oh, Training Day rules.
I liked him in Training Day, but I thought Ethan Hawke got a little snubbed in that one because he was equally as much of a star.
Yeah. I also love movies where lead characters are scumbags, and I know that doesn't work for everybody, but there doesn't have to be any good people in a movie for me to enjoy it.
This one kind of
This was his first movie. He didn't have anything come out in 97. 96 had Courage Under Fire and Preacher's Wife. And then 98 he had Fallen, He Got Game, The Siege. Yeah, just those three. And then the next year was Bone Collector Hurricane.
Oh, yeah.
2000's Remember the Titans. 2001's Training Day.
So 2000, he starts like building back up to like movies that everybody sees
he
and talk
became
about.
that box office draw again, the awards darling again.
Yeah, soft late 90s, heavy like 2000s.
John Goodman also started a string of movies, or continued a string of movies, because this was around the time of Big Lebowski, and I don't remember what the hell else came out. But
John Goodman just never puts in a bad performance. He's good no matter where he shows up.
Movie ended up making $25 million in the theater.
That's probably not that bad, but it depends on what it cost.
10.
Okay, well that's okay.
I mean, it's very...
Especially in an era where
there's
VHS was a big deal.
There's no, like, special effects, really, because the supernatural is basically, like, the spirit goes into people, and so the people basically act.
Yeah. The acting is... The special effect is the acting.
Yeah.
Is the acting, yeah. Not the... Huh. Sounds fun. Fallen, I'd never heard.
yeah, this Big Lebowski came out next, then he had the Blues Brothers...
You know a great movie that involves both of them?
Dirty Word.
Flight. Flight rules. And John Goodman is great in Flight, and Denzel is great in Flight. Flight's an underrated movie.
Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Coyote Ugly. And more and more and more.
You guys ever see True Stories?
No.
It's like the movie that David Byrne made, like the guy from Talking Heads. From like the late 80s, but John Goodman's like kind of the lead character in it, but it's like a young John Goodman, and he's just like the character he's playing is just like a happy-go-lucky, like really nice like Southern guy that's got a big smile on his face, and all he wants is a girlfriend, and it's a really great performance. I mean, it's probably pre-Roseanne even. It's really good, but just thinking about him, and then Half Baked. I mean,
yeah, Half Baked. Yeah, this was around that I was on the verge of turning 21. I hadn't officially allowed myself to smoke weed yet. I was going to be the one of my many siblings that didn't smoke weed ever.
Oh, yeah.
And
you saw them all get in trouble as you were younger and stuff.
I mean, I saw them all get in trouble, but I was around all of them when they smoked. So, I mean, it wasn't anything that was
You weren't uncomfortable about it.
It wasn't that I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
I was around weed at 4 years old and was outing my sister to my mom because she makes her own cigarettes.
Yeah.
But yeah, this helped ease my way into actually smoking, and then just the movie itself was it's a cult classic for a reason. It's just so many
is it the greatest movie ever? No, but is it one of the funnier comedies of like the late 90s? Absolutely, because it knows that it's stupid, so it leans into it, and there's so many great performances from I mean, Harlan Williams is a gem. He's so good every time he shows up in a thing. And the scene where he kills the horse is great. And he just improv it. Just where he says butternuts, he's like, but I keep saying the horse's name.
Buttercup! Butternuts! Butterstuff! Yeah, you got Harlan Williams. Obviously, you got Dave Chappelle. Gene Brewer.
The show, yeah.
What's his name? The Cuban bee.
I don't know his real name. He's also...
Guillermo Diaz.
There we go.
Oh, yeah. I've only ever seen him in one other movie, and it's Party Girl. That's the only other movie I've seen him in that I at least tracked where I was like, oh, that's that guy.
Yeah, Harper Posey is Party Girl,
Yeah. I mean, but yeah, he's great in both of them. He's very funny and charming. I mean, in general.
He's a great character actor over the years. He shows up in Weeds, and he's a serious badass in that one, as opposed to the fake, comic relief that he is here.
The fake badass, or just like the sweet gay DJ friend in Party Girl.
You can't have a stoner comedy without an appearance of Tommy Chong, so him showing up in the prison scene was...
Of course, Stephen Wright as the guy on the couch, which couldn't have been more perfectly cast.
I mean, what's her name? Mary Jane.
Oh, yeah. Rachel True.
True, there we go.
What a babe.
Yes.
I've never seen The Craft. Is that crazy?
Really?
Yeah. I mean, that's the only thing I was like, I know she's in The Craft, but I've never seen it.
I mean, The Craft, it's got questionable acting in it at some points, but it's still a great movie.
I didn't say Rachel True was the greatest actress. I just said she was attractive.
Of the Craft girls, she's not the worst.
Really? Who? It's her, Fairuza Balk, and
Nat Campbell, and
there's 4.
Why am I blanking on so many names?
I only thought there was 3.
She was in Empire Records. She played the girl with the shaved head.
Robin Lively.
Robin Lively.
Oh. I don't even remember the girl with the shaved head.
Wait, not right.
Yeah, it's Robin Lively. That's right. I always thought Fruza Balk was the worst actress of those four.
I mean, I can't think of a movie where she's like great in. I'm like, well, she's good in Waterboy, but that's a low bar because Waterboy is like, it's an Adam Sandler movie. You don't go there for the acting, and everybody's playing such a big character that you can't be like,
Robin
Oh.
Yeah. Robin Lively was Teen Witch.
Teen Witch.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, that didn't sound right. That's not Blake's sister.
She's the daughter of...
she's the sister-in-law of... The sister-in-law of
Ryan
Ryan Reynolds,
man.
I almost started talking about The Craft again.
Kind of crazy that they never... I mean, the movie did poorly and then just became its own thing on VHS and television, but it's...
I mean, it's a Comedy Central classic.
Absolutely. I mean,
that's the demographic right there.
If the movie didn't do so well, do you think Dave Chappelle would have, like, so well on tape? Do you think Chappelle would have got his TV show? I mean, he did like 2 incredible stand-ups, so maybe that's part of it.
I think his talent was...
He would have found something else.
Was
there. He made the movie with the same guy he made the show with, Neil Brennan.
He may not have got there at the time that he did, but I think Dave Chappelle was always destined to reach Dave Chappelle status.
Yeah. Now I wish he would just write jokes again. That'd be nice. But hey, whatever. What am I going to tell a fucking millionaire?
I'm not going to lie. His little appearance in A Star Is Born.
Oh, I've heard that was good.
He was good. It was, taking him out of the normal element you see him in and putting him in something a little more serious.
A movie we talk about a lot. He shows up in You've Got Mail.
He does.
He's like Dom Hanks, like
best friend. He showed up on fucking stage with the Foo Fighters when I went and saw them.
Oh, really?
A couple years ago. Yeah.
Doesn't he? Did he sing Creep? Yeah. I saw the viral clip of that because he sang it so bad, but it's like
he's done
the perfect song for him.
Shows now.
Perfect song for him to do. It just makes me think of old Patrice O'Neill clip where he's like talks about Creep, the song Creep, and how he's like I understand white people more now because after hearing the song Creep and what it means to them. It's just really funny. And it's like, oh, Dave Chappelle doing Creep is perfect. Perfect choice.
Well, let's talk some New Japan wrestling.
That's right. Sure about some Funyuns now.
So, this is basically, you can actually watch this entire show minus one match on New Japan World, or you can find the full video on archive.org, or because it was a videotape that was released to the public, and that's what we ended up watching because we want to watch
if it's there
all the matches.
If it's available to us, we'll try.
And there's like some extra stuff that involves Choshu's stuff that happens in the show as well. So
yeah, I was kind of confused and interested about all of that. But I was trying to figure out what was going on.
I'm not going to lie, I was happy with that part because it was like, I'm not going to understand any of this, so fast forward.
But we go straight to our first match. Kendo Kashin versus Koji Kanemoto. And the last time we saw Kashin was as the young lion Tokimitsu Ishizawa at Wrestling World 96, episode 181. And Koji at Best of Super Juniors 4, episode 255.
I do love... Kendo's in a mask now.
Yep.
So that's, maybe
we're down to that mask too.
Yeah, it's a great mask. Koji is maybe one of the, derpiest baby faces. But, I find that charming. But it's like, what a face.
Kanemoto offers a handshake, only for Kendo to deliver a cheap shot and attack, followed by the two exchanging snapmares, until Kashin nails a jawbreaker. And Kendo takes the fight to the mat for the two to trade holds when Koji gets a heel hook locked in, forcing Kashin to make the ropes to break it up. Kanemoto with a series of kicks before applying a sleeper to wear down his opponent. But Kendo transitions into a leg lock, causing Koji to grab the ropes. Kashin with strikes and looks to work the leg, only for Kanemoto to counter into another leg lock to regain control, with Kendo once again making the ropes. Koji with another series of kicks and knees, turning Kashin over into a Boston Crab and compelling Kashin to crawl his way to the ropes.
And I'm like, this is my kind of wrestling. The crawl was believable. They're working limbs. It feels good, man.
And for two guys that
curtain jerking, but
I don't know anything about them really,
yeah.
but they kept my attention just instantly.
My idea is that their overlap of like dojo is probably close, but I don't know enough to say that for sure, and that might be why they work so well together. But for all I know, Kanemoto didn't even come from the dojo. I'm not sure.
A body slam and a second rope corkscrew moonsault from Kanemoto, followed by a top rope moonsault, only for Kendo to get his knees up and apply an arm lock with Koji's boots finding the ropes. Kashin with a front suplex onto the ropes, and he drags Kanemoto to the apron to deliver elbows to the throat before several European uppercuts. And Kendo rolls in, preventing Koji from entering at first, but then tries to bring him in the hard way, only for Kanemoto to float over and grab a waistlock, when Kashin mule kicks down low and nails a clothesline. Kendo goes back to work on the leg, ripping Koji's bandage off, followed by placing him in a tree of woe to continue stomping away. Kashin then pulls Kanemoto down to the mat before heading up top for a flying lariat that gets a 2 count. But a reversed whip allows Koji to hit an overhead belly-to-belly suplex.
Desperation.
Kanemoto with more kicks, followed by taking Kendo to the top for a superplex. But Koji goes back up for a moonsault on the leg of Kashin. Kanemoto then looks for a tiger suplex, only for Kendo to counter into a crucifix armbar, with Koji struggling, but making it to the ropes.
What a cool fucking... This guy's got it.
Yep.
Kashin sets Kanemoto on the top for a super crucifix armbar, only for them to be too close to the ropes, so Koji is able to get a boot out. Kendo keeps up the attack on the arm, followed by a bridging German. But Kanemoto kicks out and transitions into a bridging tiger suplex for a near fall.
I know, he kicked out at 1. He's feeling the crowd.
They stare each other down when Koji delivers kicks, only for Kashin to catch one and nail a dragon screw leg whip, before locking on the armbar once more for the submission and the win.
Perfect finish. He's kicking him with his bad leg. Bad leg gets caught. Dragon screw. Now I'm going to put the nail in the coffin.
Screw you.
Great stuff. And I love that the heel pulled out his win. And for lighter guys, this wasn't too much flippy stuff. It was just wrestling, and all the big stuff meant something. As much as I love Best of the Super Juniors, sometimes I'm like, you guys got to stop doing this. Now I climb to the top. Now I climb to the top. You got to space it out. But yeah, no complaints here.
Yeah, Kashin, something about him just stood out as, I don't know, you could see the confidence in him as he was walking to the ring, as he moved around the ring. Can't see his face whatsoever, so all you can do to read him is his body movements, and he pulled me in from the start. You can't
be a boring luchador. It's just never going to work. Look at Bushi.
He gave me some Ultimo Dragon vibes, but without all the flash.
Yeah, it was more about it was strictly business kind of thing. Also, I mean, just imagine there's 55,000 people here. This is his probably, I imagine, the first time he's wrestled in front of that many people. Definitely. Probably the first time he's been in the Tokyo Dome, the biggest venue for Japanese wrestling. If he doesn't, he has to deliver here, and he absolutely did. So it'll be interesting to see if we see him again this year. I'd be pleased as punch if we see him again in the few shows that we cover in Japan.
Post-match, and this is basically for every match, we get interviews with the wrestlers, but as usual, in Japanese. I still haven't got my Duolingo up to date, so...
I think we only have one English-speaking, native English-speaking person on this show, so, we're just gonna...
And that one, I didn't really care.
He's not he's not traditionally a pro wrestler, so we'll get there when we get there.
But we go to our second match. Ultimo Dragon versus Shinjiro Otani for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. The last time we saw Shinjiro was at Best of Super Juniors 4, episode 255. And A little news about Ultimo. He had actually won the WCW Cruiserweight Championship from Eddie Guerrero on the Nitro the week before.
Potato.
He didn't bring the belt out with him. But
it wasn't a WCW.
It wasn't on the line or anything like that. But just so you know that he's going into this as the WCW champion.
And did Shinjiro... Did he win juniors last year? I'm trying to remember the winner last year.
No, it was...
He made it to the final, probably.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just thinking.
I can't picture who won it.
I am trying to remember.
I apologize. I'm so sorry.
Let's see.
Kanemoto and Samurai.
Oh.
So it's Kanemoto.
Oh. Okay.
Well, Samurai won, but
yeah,
Kanemoto was in the
final.
All
right. Sorry.
So Otani offers a hand. The Dragon turns him down before the two trade strikes and holds until a whip to the corner puts Ultimo in a handstand on the turnbuckle, kicking Shinjiro away.
Show off.
He loves to do it.
A Japanese arm drag and a rolling armbar by Dragon before transitioning into a head scissors and a stump puller. And our competitors continue to trade mat holds until Otani finally makes the ropes, making their way to their feet where Shinjiro takes control with a spinning kick and face washes.
This is not the Ultimo that we see every week in WCW. He is plussed up and knows that he has a wider breadth of moves and stuff he can do with somebody like Shinjiro Otani.
Well, because he's used to wrestling the same two people. So, he finally gets somebody that knows him from, old school times.
Yeah. Somebody that's well-rounded. It's a different style of wrestling.
Yeah, he's not 19.
No. He's definitely, earned his spot everywhere he goes.
Ultimo retaliates with a drop kick to the back of Otani's head, descending to the floor, followed by going for an Asai moonsault. But Shinjiro yanks him off the apron, with Dragon's face hitting the hardest part of the ring. Otani rolls in and looks to bring Ultimo in with a suplex, which Ultimo floats over. But a kick to the gut allows Shinjiro to lift Dragon up for a powerbomb, only for Ultimo to slip out of his grasp, over the ropes, and out to the floor. And Otani heads out to keep up the attack before making their way back in for a series of kicks and chokes. But Dragon responds with the same, followed by a hammer lock head scissors hold that again forces Shinjiro to make the ropes. And Ultimo with a body slam, and he heads upstairs. But Otani meets him there for a Rana, only for Dragon to shove him off crotch first onto the ropes, causing him to fall out to the floor, where Ultimo leaps off the top with a moonsault. Now back inside, Dragon tries for a handspring back elbow, but Shinjiro moves and charges at Ultimo, who's now on the turnbuckles, only to be kicked away, allowing Dragon to jump on the shoulders for a Hurricanrana that gets a 2 count. Otani fires back with a German suplex, heads to the apron for a springboard dropkick and a springboard spinning heel kick, followed by a bridging Dragon suplex for a near fall. Shinjiro then telegraphs a back body drop, so Ultimo delivers an axe kick and goes for the La Magistral. But Otani realizes it and escapes before Dragon can get his arm locked, letting the crowd know he's smarter than that. And after a whip to the ropes, the two men fight over another waistlock, with Shinjiro transitioning into a full Nelson. Ultimo counters into the La Magistral for the pin, and no! Otani kicks out. Dragon then nails a tombstone and heads up top.
No cover.
Only for Shinjiro to meet him there, grabbing Ultimo into another full Nelson. But Dragon elbows free and delivers a sunset flip powerbomb for a 2 count.
This shit's wild.
Liger bomb for a near fall from Ultimo, before placing Otani up top and going for a super Rana. But Shinjiro shoves him off and hits a tornado DDT, going to the apron for a springboard dropkick, which Dragon avoids and rolls up Otani again with a La Magistral for the pin. And no! Shinjiro kicks out!
If only he didn't take the time to motion like he was about to win the belt. It gave him just enough time to respond.
Otani is placed up top, with Ultimo nailing a Super Frankensteiner this time, before a Hurricanrana and another La Magistrale, only for Shinjiro to roll through and deliver a Dragon Suplex, followed by a bridging Dragon Suplex for the pin and the win. Post-match, our competitors slap each other at first, but then hug, before Dragon raises Otani's arm.
I mean, incredible stuff.
It's like, I missed you.
Yeah, it's like, yeah.
That's the shit I want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great job, brother. Great
absolutely. And it's funny, too. It's like, well, those first guys, I was like, well, they didn't get to do all their... I don't think they did too much top rope business in this match, like we've seen in some other, junior matches. But the first match, they can't go out there, even if they were capable of doing this.
No.
It's like, you're not allowed to go out there and pull off these spots. You're the curtain jerker. Go out there, have a solid wrestling match. We're about to tear it to pieces. And my God, did they do it.
So we go to our third match. Hiroyoshi Tenzan versus Yuji Nagata. The last time we saw Hiroyoshi was at the G1 Climax 97, episode 262.
OG NWO Japan member.
Right.
It made me just roll my eyes as soon as I saw the gear.
Yeah, but NWO Japan is different.
It might be for you, but for me, it's just...
I know the logo rubs wrong,
hard.
But you gotta admit that it's a little different. Like, they're just the way they actually have matches.
They don't have to bow down to Terry.
I mean, yeah, there's that part, but I just...
Yeah, I know. You don't want it to be... You're tired of it following you everywhere.
Yes. I'm just going to follow for the next 20, 30 years.
So Tenzan nails a clothesline before the bell rings to take control, stomping away on Nagata until the two trade slaps, when Yuji takes Hiroyoshi down with a cross arm breaker, forcing Tenzan to roll out to regroup. He makes it back in with our competitors looking to lock up in a test of strength. Woo! Only for Hiroyoshi to kick low and deliver Mongolian chops. Nagata responds by working the arm with hammerlocks and a side Russian leg sweep for a 2 count before his whip is reversed. But Yuji avoids a charging Tenzan, rolling him up for a near fall. And Nagata starts kicking away on Hiroyoshi, only for Tenzan to scream for more and retaliate with more Mongolian chops. Yuji ducks a lariat and comes off the ropes with a crossbody for a 2 count, followed by transitioning into a cross armbreaker, only for a rake of the eyes to free Hiroyoshi. Right hands, headbutts, kicks and chokes in a corner by Tenzan, before looking to lock in a Boston Crab. But Nagata's too close to the ropes, so Hiroyoshi just drops a headbutt to the midsection.
I do love that this match, because you know how sometimes they have the funny little names for the matches in Japanese shows, is WCW versus NWO Special Japan War. And I'm like, well, I guess Nagata's been working WCW a lot lately, but it's like, it's not like he has a crazy contract. He's not exclusive, I'd imagine. I guess maybe he's come back after being there for like 6 months or something.
Back to his feet, Yuji trades headbutts with Tenzan, which was a bad idea, knocking himself down for an elbow drop and a backdrop suplex that gets a near fall.
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever seen Hiroshi Tenzan, but his head is a cinder block. It's a square.
Yeah, it is a square.
It's crazy.
Hiroyoshi heads up top, and Nagata meets him there to nail a super belly-to-belly suplex. Delivers a series of kicks and a bridging German for a 2 count. Yuji keeps up the attack by whipping Tenzan to a corner, only for him to charge out with a clothesline, followed by a spinning heel kick for a near fall. And Hiroyoshi picks up Nagata, but he cradles Tenzan up for a 2 count, before applying a standing figure 4 until Hiroyoshi makes the ropes. And Yuji wants a backdrop suplex, only for Tenzan to counter it into a DDT and a powerbomb, followed by heading up top for a flying headbutt. But Nagata moves out of the way and goes back to kicking, including a pair of enziguris. Yuji then hits an exploder suplex. He tries for another, only to be elbowed away by Hiroyoshi, who looks to gain some momentum by bouncing off the ropes, but he's caught with an overhead belly to belly. Nagata kicks the legs and applies Nagata Lock 1 in the middle of the ring for the submission and the win.
Nagata Lock 1.
A figure 4-ish.
Basically, it's a standing figure 4.
Yeah. It looks great. I do love a heel losing to a submission. As a babyface, should never really lose to a submission. At least, I guess, in American wrestling. But it's Japan, they might do it a little different. But yeah, I mean, it's good, hard-hitting stuff. But I have a feeling this was like Nagata coming back from WCW after a while. And he got better while he was away, and now he's going to defeat the number 2, basically, of the NWO on a big stage.
The crowd ate him up, too.
Oh, absolutely.
When he first walked out there, I was trying to figure out... I didn't know the backstory on it, so I was trying to figure out why he was getting such a strong reaction from the crowd, and I just figured, all right,
yeah.
he's
maybe these guys, they're up around the same age and stuff, so there's some history, I'd imagine.
They were probably young lions at the same time. That Nagata's...
Yeah.
I mean, they're both up-and-comers.
Yeah, one of them immediately went heel. NWO business, you got this baby face that they probably haven't seen in a few months on a regular basis. So he comes out and they're like, all right, fuck him up, man. And he did. And it was compelling.
We're then shown Riki Choshu arriving to his locker room where flowers have been delivered, and he looks over the card of the evening where it shows he will face 5 opponents. Riki then makes his way out to the ring to warm up, followed by talking with Osamu Nishimura. Which leads us into our 4th match. The Bull Powers of Manubu Nakanishi and Satoshi Kojima versus Osamu Nishimura and Tatsumi Fujinami.
So my assumption here, because this is called Osamu Nishimura's triumphant return match, tag match, is that Tatsumi Fujinami is pretty well established. Osamu, I assume, is just come back from excursion, and they're going to have a match with some hard-hitting heels.
Both old... Oh, actually, I have the note here for you.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Osamu had been on excursion in Europe, and this is his first match back with New Japan since the previous April. So when they're in the ring, he takes off his robe, and he's wearing an NWO shirt. It kind of shocks everyone.
Yeah.
But he immediately tears it off and tosses it into the crowd.
Yeah,
it's like basically just kind of a shock value type thing.
You're like, oh, no, it's fine.
But the last time we saw the Bull Powers were as singles wrestlers at the G1 Climax 97, episode 262, while Nishimura and Fujinami were at Wrestling World 97, which was the previous January 4th show, episode 235.
Love Kojima. His pecs are even bigger today than they were then. He hits hard. I love Nakanishi too, but something about Kojima. What a guy.
Yep, and I couldn't help but think Bull Powers sounds like a name that somebody would end up with, like in NXT or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Bull Powers, attorney at law.
He's got a cowboy hat on. He just chases ambulances.
So Nishimura and Manubu match up to start, with Nakanishi taking the fight to the mat with neither gaining an advantage, until Osamu escapes with a knuckle lock into a backdrop suplex. Tatsumi and Satoshi both tag in, with Kojima nailing a vertical suplex and clubbing blows, before bringing their partners back in for a test of strength.
Flex those pecs.
Where both men trying for cheap shots that Nakanishi gets the better of to take Nishimura to a corner, only for Osamu to fire out with forearms to take control.
And I guess it's been a little while since we've seen Nakanishi, but this man is wide as hell. He's the size of a whole wall.
Manubu fires back with a backbreaker, teams up with Satoshi for a double shoulder block, followed by Kojima hitting a somersault senton and a Saito suplex on Nishimura. Nakanishi with a backdrop suplex and a leg drop for a 2 count. Teams up for a combo top rope bulldog backdrop suplex with Satoshi before a sit-out spinebuster from Kojima for a near fall.
I mean, this is what I like to see big boys doing things. And these are big boys Throwing some guys around.
Satoshi keeps up the attack with corner clotheslines that sends Osamu rolling to the floor to regroup, returning only to get stomped down by Manubu. And Nishimura rallies with forearms and kicks, followed by a double underhook DDT for a 2 count. But the Bull Powers are able to regain control with double teams. And Nakanishi drops Osamu with a body slam and an elbow drop for a near fall. But a spinning heel kick from Nishimura allows him to make the tag, bringing in Fujinami, only to be taken down by a backdrop suplex and lifted up for a backbreaker rack, until Osamu comes in to kick Manubu to break the hold. Kojima with lariats and a top rope elbow drop on Tatsumi for a 2 count. He goes for a kick, but Fujinami catches and counters into a dragon screw leg whip. Tatsumi then goes for the dragon sleeper, when Nakanishi would come in to break it up, only for Fujinami to take him down with a dragon screw leg whip as well, before tagging in Nishimura to deliver a series of kicks to both of his opponents. But he misses a dropkick when Kojima holds onto the ropes. Satoshi then delivers a running lariat for a near fall, followed by the Bull Powers nailing double running lariats, allowing Kojima to place Osamu on the top for a super Koji cutter, but Fujinami breaks up the pin attempt. Nishimura then ducks a running lariat and nails a release German. Body slams Satoshi down for a Tatsumi top rope knee drop, before heading up top himself to hit a missile dropkick for the pin. And no, Kojima gets a boot on the ropes.
Love a boot on the rope.
Osamu then pulls over his opponent with a small package and backslide pin attempts for 2, followed by a bridging Northern Light suplex for the pin and the win. Riki Choshu is then shown walking in the back, making his way towards the ring, and we get Japanese narration, most likely talking about his tremendous career, when all 5 of Riki's opponents make their way to the ring.
Riki Choshu retiring match. Riki Road Final Message +5. I think is what it says. It's like, all right, well, I guess it's an interesting way to retire somebody in the middle of a show. It's like, well, have a match with 5 guys, and then the one guy that is recognizable to us. There's only one guy that's recognized. I don't know who the other guys are. I don't know if you do, but I'll let you get going.
Oh, you do.
So our 5th match, Kazuyuki Fujita versus Riki Choshu in Riki Road Final Message 5, with Kotetsu Yamamoto as special guest referee. And the last time we saw Riki was at Wrestling World 97, episode 235, last January 4th show, while Fujita is still a young lion. And everyone leaves the ring except for our competitors, where they lock up with Kazuyuki taking Choshu to a corner to nail forearms and kicks, but Riki counters a headlock into an armbar. But Fujita escapes into a waistlock, taking Choshu down to the mat with another headlock. Riki is then taken to a corner once more for more forearms and kicks, followed by a backdrop suplex. Choshu retaliates with one of his own before delivering a lariat for the pin and the win.
One down.
So Fujita's out.
Yep.
And we get to our 6th match.
Yeah, they take like maybe 20 seconds. They just throw the next guy in.
Yutaka Yoshie versus Riki Choshu in Riki Road Final Message 5. Kotetsu Yamamoto still the special guest referee.
As he will be.
And Yoshie is still a young lion at this time as well. And he takes Riki to the corner for headbutts and elbows, only for Choshu to fire back with slaps. And Yutaki responds with a body slam and stomps, followed by attempting a Boston Crab, only for Riki to block. So Yoshie hits another body slam and a running forearm. He tries for one more, but Choshu clotheslines him down for the pin and the win.
I want to make the Oprah joke, but it's so overplayed. Continue.
Make the what joke?
The Oprah joke.
So our 7th match, Tatsuhito Takaiwa versus Riki Choshu in Riki Road Final Message 5. And we have a change of ref, and I have no clue who it is.
Oh, there is a ref change. I didn't even catch that.
Yeah. I think Yamamoto is a teacher in the dojo.
Oh.
And so I think he was in there for the 2 matches with the Young Lions, basically.
All right.
And Tatsuhito, we've seen him last time at Best of Super Juniors 4, episode 255. He was actually in one of our shortlist matches last year.
Who's
versus Otani, I believe.
Oh, okay. That's why. I mean, I'm sure this guy's good, but that was him. Yeah. An early, big thing for him was being in the juniors. That was the first time he was ever in that tournament. It was a learning experience.
Exactly. And Takaiwa starts it off with chops, forearms, and stomps before nailing a running knee drop and attempts a powerbomb, only for Riki to counter it into a back body drop and a lariat, followed by applying the Scorpion Deathlock for the submission and the win.
I mean, how is this young boy going to lift a man that is basically a tree stump? What is he thinking?
So we get our 8th match.
That's what Riki Choshu translates to in Japanese. Tree stump.
So we get our 8th match. Takashi Iizuka versus Riki Choshu in Riki Road Final Message 5.
Well, we know who this guy is.
So last time we saw Iizuka was at Wrestling World 97, episode 235. And Takashi works over Riki with kicks and forearms, followed by a Uranagi. And he tries for another, only for Choshu to escape with an elbow. Riki then delivers a running lariat and applies the Scorpion Deathlock. But Iizuka counters into an Achilles tendon hold for the submission and the win. And
how long until he starts having a steel hand gimmick? Just kidding. We don't have to talk about
So Iizuka and Riki had actually won tag belts together. So that was kind of their history together.
Okay, that's cool. He's like, I'll put this guy over. He's my friend, and also who knows me better than my tag opponent. Makes sense. But I will say, considering the way this was laid out, didn't we all expect him to just run through the first 4 guys?
Oh yeah,
yeah. So that was cool and smart. And if I had been more familiar with the backstory, it would have meant even more. But it was still obvious, even though I'm less informed. I was like, yeah, that's cool and surprising.
We then go to our 9th match. Jushin, Thunder, Liger versus Riki Choshu in Riki Road Final Message 5. And Jushin was last seen at Best of the Super Juniors episode 255. And Liger fires out with a kaput kick to start, taking advantage of the tired Riki with a brain buster and strikes, till Choshu retaliates with a Saito suplex. Jushin is up first to hit chops and places Riki on the top turnbuckle to deliver a superplex for a 2 count. Choshu then grabs a waistlock for another suplex, but he's too tired, so he throws Liger to the floor, only to then leap over the ropes with a slingshot plancha.
Ooh, what a big pop. That's just he's a boulder. And he's also retiring.
Probably not something that he usually does, and he's just like,
no, fuck
it's
it.
my last match.
Yeah, yeah. It's like it's probably the equivalent of, I still remember this spot a few years ago, Tomohiro Ishii going off the top rope to the floor onto a bunch of guys, and I just that guy stays grounded.
Yeah.
He's a boulder in a different way than Choshu, but a boulder nonetheless. And the crowd really appreciated Riki flying out. I mean, this whole match is just a giant Choshu chant, as it should be.
Riki would attempt to bring Jushin in the hard way, but Liger floats over for kicks, a dragon screw leg whip, and a figure 4 in the middle of the ring.
I also love him doing that is kind of I can do your young bullshit fucking jump out of the ring crap.
Yeah.
It's I just love that attitude. So
Choshu rolls over to put the pressure on Jushin's legs until they roll their way to the ropes, causing a break. Riki then nails a running lariat for the pin, and no! Liger kicks out. So Choshu delivers another lariat for the pin and the win. Post-match, Riki would hug the ref, Tiger Hattori, before bowing to the crowd. And Tony Inoki would then make his way into the ring to shake hands and hug Choshu.
Of course he did.
followed by Riki speaking to the crowd. And then we are shown a press conference in the back where Choshu answers some questions before we get a tribute video for him.
Really great.
And this is the part that's, I think, just on the video that we watched. It's not on New Japan World. But it basically shows highlights of his career, including body slamming Andre the Giant.
Absolutely.
Having matches with Inoki, the Three Musketeers, and Kazuke Sasaki. Riki would then be brought back to the ring, so I'm not quite sure on the timeline of all of the Riki Choshu stuff that happened. Because it was a video, so they probably edited it so it's all kind of right here.
Yeah.
Riki would be brought back to the ring to be presented flowers by 3 young children, who I assume maybe his grandchildren?
His grandchildren or children, yeah. That was
speak to the crowd once again, and then given a 10-bell salute.
I assume that was the end of the show.
That's what I assume as well.
Yeah. But super cool, really well done. And in my notes, I was like, well, who was the guy that pinned him? And I was like, oh, I don't know why I didn't recognize it was Iizuka. It makes me feel a little silly, but it is what it is. But Riki's kind of after Inoki being the number one guy, Choshu's basically the second number one guy in the company, right? Or is there somebody in between?
Maybe Fujinami.
Oh, yeah, I guess, him and Fujinami. But, But, that's kind of the way it's, tiered as far as, top guys. Yeah. So,
So, at this point, Riki would retire and focus on being the booker of New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Good for him. Great job.
But he would return in 3 years.
Of course he did.
In a death match, like a barbed wire death match.
For New Japan?
Yeah.
Against who, do you know?
Not sure, no. I don't remember.
Yeah. But
I
imagine there was some kind of hot feud for that to happen.
And he would have his actual last match in 2019.
Against who?
I don't know.
Riki Choshu, the Terry Funk. I'm sure there's other analoguses,
right. But his retirement match is in 98, but his actual last match is 2019.
I imagine he didn't work regularly.
Oh, no. Yeah. Not by any means, but
it's funny.
There's at least 3 or 4 more pages of matches on Cage Match after 1998 for Riki Choshu.
That's funny.
So we got our 10th match, Don Frye versus Naoya Ogawa in a different style fight.
Yeah, the description of that just kind of made me laugh.
Yeah, I saw one that's a different seed martial arts battle.
Different style fight.
But this is some Minokiism we're about to get into, brothers.
So Frye is a MMA fighter. He had won 2 UFC tournaments in 1996, while Naoya was a silver medalist in judo at the 92 Summer Olympics.
Okay.
And we see highlights of Don choking out Kazuyuki Fujita, who we just saw in the Riki Choshu, which leads to numerous others jumping in the ring to get him to release the hold, including Ogawa. And Ogawa's then shown doing the same to Brian Johnston at a different show. So Frye confronts him, and they stare each other down.
Bum, bum, bum.
So both men are shown arriving to the arena in street clothes before making their entrances to the ring, where they attempt takedowns until Ogawa leg sweeps Don to the mat multiple times, followed by blocking another takedown attempt and transitioning into a cross arm breaker that Frye rolls to the ropes to break. Don again shoots for the takedown, with Ogawa taking the back of Frye, grabbing the arm for another hold, when Don gets a boot on the ropes. They exchange kicks before a judo throw by Frye, only to be caught in a head scissors by Ogawa that Don powers out of by lifting and slamming Ogawa down. Frye goes to an arm breaker, forcing Ogawa to make the ropes to get both men to their feet, where they trade strikes once again, leading to Don getting hold of a leg bar momentarily. And Frye stays at the attack with right hands to the midsection when Ogawa grabs a triangle choke. But they're still in the ropes, so the ref forces them to release. But Don continues to punch away and turn it into a leg bar when the ref finally gets them loose from each other. They again go to the mat with Frye locking on a choke, only for Ogawa to get his boot on the ropes. But again, the ref struggles to get them to release. Ogawa's pissed, so he drops Don with a German suplex, a backdrop suplex, and a judo throw, before several leg sweeps. And Ogawa looks to go for some ground and pound, when Frye kicks him low, allowing him on top to nail right hands and lock on a chokehold in the middle of the ring for the ref stoppage and the win. Post-match, Ogawa shoves Don, which leads them to brawl some more. When Frye goes low once more, when officials and Young Lions break it up. And Don taunts Ogawa with his comments backstage, calling Ogawa a child, and that he should go back to school.
I mean, yeah, this is just, I assume, not our thing in general.
No.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
it's just, we
is
get a couple of these every once in a while.
For a while.
Yeah,
so.
it's just...
Yeah, this is what UFC was like back when it was new, where they just kind of held on to each other and hugged it out.
But supposedly, like, early Pride and stuff is good, because, like, the UFC thing, like, the mixed martial arts is basically starts in Japan. And then UFC does its thing with it. I'm not super familiar with the whole deal, but Pride was one of the big ones, blah, blah, blah. But obviously, this stuff becomes big in Japan. And, of course, Inoki is interested in it and tries to meld it, mixing shoot and work, and it makes both things less compelling.
So we go to our 11th match. Dennis Lane versus Shinya Hashimoto in a different style fight. And the only information I could find about Dennis Lane is that this is the only wrestling match he ever had. Asked around in different places and found out that he was a low-level kickboxer.
Okay, he comes out, he has like a couple belts or whatever, but...
No clue
they're
where they're
just
from.
low-level kickboxing thing. Low-level kickboxing, I mean, who's the best guy for him to go against? Shinya Hashimoto, the man with tree trunks for
Kicks
legs.
for days.
Yeah, kicks for days. The most kickingest New Japan member.
Our competitors are shown arriving to the arena before making their way to the ring, where Lane has boxing gloves on. And our competitors look to exchange jabs and kicks, being cautious at first, until Shinya goes for a takedown, which gets a knee in the gut. Hashimoto finally gets that takedown, only for Lane to grab the ropes to force a break. But when he goes to get back up, Dennis cannot stand. So the ref calls for the TKO and the win. And
my friends, that's why shoot and wrestling combinations are dumb, because this man broke his ankle.
Yeah. And he has to be stretchered to the back.
Yeah, and they were supposed to have 3 10-minute rounds. I was like, oh no, so he broke his ankle. Yeah. He tried to get up and he was like, oh no, my ankle is broken. Game over. Cool, that was fun. What a waste of Shinya Hashimoto, one of the coolest guys you have.
Yeah.
For like a January 4th show. He could have had a good match with anybody that's a wrestler. And it would have been more interesting and fun, and the crowd would have been more into it. But instead, Dennis Hurricane Lane had to break his ankle on a takedown because he doesn't get taken down. That's not how kickboxing works.
Or Snoop Dogg when we need him, right?
Exactly. He could have saved the whole thing. He was probably... Or I guess this is 98.
He was watching Half Baked.
Yeah. I was going to say...
With Dave Chappelle.
I guess it would have been earlier 90s that he was in court for murder. But
murder was the case that they gave him.
So we go to our 12th match. Shiro Koshinika versus Masahiro Chono. Hiroyoshi Tenzan and Hiro Saito. And we last saw Koshinika at Wrestling World 96, episode 181.
Been a while.
And Masahiro at G1 Climax 97, episode 262. And as soon as the bell rings, Masahiro is all over Shiro with forearms and a Yakuza kick.
Yakuza!
But Koshinika responds with a big boot and multiple hip attacks, to send Shono outside to regroup. Now back in, the fight's taken to the mat with headlocks, chin locks, and hammer locks shared between the two. But a hip check from Shiro puts him in control, applying a head scissors to continue to wear down Masahiro some more. Now back to their feet, Shono with turnbuckle smashes, chops, and kicks, before heading up top, only for Kashinika to meet him there for a superplex. But Masahiro no-sells and delivers a Yakuza kick. Shono then goes out to the apron, looking to suplex Shiro out onto the rampway, only to be blocked and reversed. But Masahiro floats over and goes for another Yakuza kick, which is caught, so they then fight over a waistlock, with Shono trying to mule kick down low. However, Kashinika avoids and rolls up Masahiro for a 2 count.
You're not going to get this, cheeky bastard.
Shiro with a power bomb for a near fall, but a rake of the eyes allows Shono to hit a Yakuza kick. He then tries for another, only for Kashinika to hip attack and nail another power bomb. Shiro hits a third power bomb for a 2 count, followed by a botched 4th one. So Kashinika tries for a dragon suplex, but Masahiro hits the mule kick down low this time to slow the momentum, before a Yakuza kick gets a near fall.
Good grief with your Yakuza kick. Your Yakuza kick.
You're spamming him.
Yeah.
Shono attempts a Samoan drop, only for Shiro to float over into a roll-up for a 2 count. Kashinika then goes to run the ropes, but he's tripped up by Saito from the floor, allowing Masahiro to lock on the STF.
Shake famous by air quads.
Only for Shiro to grab the ropes. Shono then goes for the sleeper, but Kashinika immediately counters with a Saito suplex and goes to run the ropes. Only for Masahiro to trip him up and lock on the STF once again.
That's what I got to do to get a Yakuza kick.
Forcing Shiro to crawl his way to the ropes. Shono with a power bomb for a near fall attempts a pile driver, but it's blocked and reversed into a back body drop, followed by another power bomb from Kashinika for a 2 count. And now Shiro wants a vertical suplex, which is countered into a swinging neck breaker by Masahiro, before nailing a pile driver and a pancake, followed by locking on a crucifix hold.
Famous a while.
Another Yakuza kick gets a near fall, but Kashinika cradles up his opponent for a 2 count, before setting up for the hip tack, only to charge right into another Yakuza kick for the pin and the win.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 17 Yakuza kicks.
Yeah, and the thing is like this was was more interesting to watch than talk about because the crowd was so hot and so it was good, but I assume that the build or the conceit of the feud, if I knew it, may have helped, but that's just assumption. I don't know for sure, but when we talk through the match, it's like Yakuza kick, Yakuza kick, Yakuza kick. But, they mean a little bit more when the crowd's, when 55,000 people are, losing their mind. Shono is one of those guys that I want to love, but I only just kind of like in ring.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. It's I want to love him. I know he means a lot, but he never puts together a match that I truly care about. And it might have to do with him being a better heel wrestler than a wrestler in general, because that's what he's famous for. And spamming one move until it works, and then busting out a couple power moves and finishing a guy, is pretty heelish. So
we go to our 13th match, Keiji Muto with Masahiro Chono, Hiroyoshi Tenzan, and Hiro Saito versus Kensuke Senzaki for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Both men were last seen at G1 Climax 97, episode 262, before we see them make their way into the arena in street clothes, followed by their entrances to the ring, with Muta having a beard.
Yeah,
I know, he's got a sexy little dad beard.
Looks like he's ready to go, fight old John McClane and Die Hard or something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Either that or load up the station wagon and take the kids camping.
So the match is back and forth to start, working arm and headlocks until chops from Kazuki, sending Keiji to the ropes, only for him to duck under a clothesline and nail a dropkick and a dragon screw leg whip before attempting to put the figure 4 on. But Sasaki kicks him away, hitting a snap suplex and attempting stranglehold Gamma, which Muta escapes quickly. They go into a test of strength, which is bad news for Keiji, being taken to the mat. But once Kazuki releases it to work the arm, Muta counters into an armbar of his own.
Yeah, they were going to a test of strength with a guy nicknamed Power Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how great you are, Muta.
Sasaki makes it to his feet for a release German and locks on a cross armbreaker, forcing Keiji to make the ropes. But Kazuki keeps up the attack with a single arm DDT and a hammerlock before transitioning into another cross armbreaker, which Muta escapes by rolling through and bouncing off the ropes for a flash elbow. And Keiji grabs the legs for a scorpion deathlock, but Sasaki blocks him from turning it over. So Muta drops down into a leg bar, forcing Kazuki to make the ropes. More arm and leg work is shared between the two, followed by exchange strikes, leading to a handspring back elbow and a bulldog from Keiji, before heading up top for a missile dropkick. Muta then places Sasaki on the top for a super Frankensteiner, followed by a dragon screw leg whip and locking on the figure 4, causing Kazuki to make his way to the ropes.
Come on, Kazuki.
Keiji goes for another leg whip, but he's blocked and dropped by multiple impanzes for a 2 count, before several running lariats from Sasaki for a near fall. Kazuki then applies Stranglehold Gamma, but releases it to try for more running lariats, only for Muta to nail several basement drop kicks and dragon screw leg whips to slow his opponent.
He's working that leg and the pop on that first low drop kick. Woo!
Keiji even springboards off the ropes with a basement drop kick to continue the punishment, followed by a figure 4, with Sasaki writhing in pain, only to slowly crawl his way to the ropes. But Muta just pulls him back to the middle to apply the hold again, which Kazuki makes the ropes once more. Keiji with a backbreaker and a moonsault for the pin. And no, Sasaki kicks out. So Muta heads up top again for a missile dropkick. Kazuki is then placed on the turnbuckle for another Frankensteiner, only to block and deliver a super bomb before lifting Keiji up for a Northern Lights bomb. But a knee to the top of the head allows Muta to escape momentarily, as Sasaki gets back up to nail a pair of Northern Lights bombs for the pin and the win. Post-match, Kazuki celebrates in the ring before being presented trophies and the championship belt, followed by a press conference in the back talking about the win as we fade to black. Now I got a fun fact here for you.
Yeah.
This is the first January 4th show that we did not have a title change. So we only had the 2 title matches.
Yeah.
It's probably the least amount of title matches we've had so far as well. But it's an interesting note nonetheless.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess Sasaki's been a guy for a while, but he was kind of like a upper mid-card tag guy. He has the belt now. If you want him to continue to mean something, he wins and retains in the dome.
Yep.
It is interesting.
So I ask you, gentlemen, what are your overall thoughts of Final Power Hall in Tokyo Dome?
Some really great stuff here. Obviously, not the most consistently good like January 4th or big New Japan show we've watched, but the main event was great, and it was a truly worthy New Japan main event. Crowds going wild, everything builds. Kensuke's getting his leg just absolutely murdered, but he digs deep and pulls it out with some power moves because he's probably got fucking 60 pounds at least on Keiji Muto, and he retains in the biggest building he could retain. I think that outside of the first couple matches, the show is the main event, like the junior belt. First match was completely solid, but there's some weird stuff in the middle. It's like the Choshu thing is nice, but we're not going to sit here and be like, oh, well, that was great. It's like, no, it was nice and respectful and a cool moment and whatnot. And same with like the Choshu match where like it was way better to watch than to talk about. But when you started talking through it, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that is kind of what happened. Chono match. I'm sorry, not Choshu. The Chono match. It's like, oh yeah, the Yakuza kick is compelling when people are going nuts. But when we're just talking through it, I'm like, well, yeah, I guess that is what happened. But the energy makes a big difference.
Kind of along the same lines there. First two matches I really enjoyed. Last couple of matches, they kind of brought it back. But there's just a section in the middle where it's gets kind of boring.
Yeah.
And
the tag match was really good. With Nakanishi and Kojima, yeah. But it's like, oh, okay, well, I would have rather seen another good tag match on the show than the weird MMA stuff.
Probably our luck, it would have been 6-man tags. So.
Yeah. And like Nagata and Tenzan was actually really good. So I think the back half of the show kind of like falls apart for a little bit, and the first third of the show or whatever is really like promising.
It just feels like it doesn't help that the Riki Choshu match had 5 matches technically, so my initial thought when I first pulled up the zip drive was, Jesus, why do we have so many shows? And, well, I say that. On the zip drive, we only had 8 or 9 shows on there. But the Riki Choshu segment was 35 minutes. But my main thing on it was it wasn't as exciting as it typically is, and it just felt like the matches may have been a little too long. So it just kind of took away some of the oomph.
Yeah.
I can see where, because literally my thoughts were that there are numerous good matches on the show.
Yes.
But there's that magic that usually is there in January 4th shows, and it's not quite
like there. I think the main event was a worthy New Japan heavyweight title match. I don't know if it was a dome worthy. Yeah. Like it got close to dome worthy, but like it didn't quite reach the heights, but it was still a really great heavyweight title match.
I think we usually always put at least one match from a January 4th show on our short list.
Yeah. There was one that I thought that I think
I don't know if I love any of these to be on the short list.
I think there's only one that's worthy, and it's the junior heavyweight.
I mean, that's probably the best,
because we get to see an Ultimo that's just working a little bit harder, which is saying a lot because that guy works hard as hell in WCW, but like he's working a little bit harder here in Japan with a great opponent, and it was really fun and a different Ultimo match than we've seen recently, and we've been obviously just praising him to no end, and so like that would be the one that would be the short list if we had one here, and but it's not one where I'm like throwing my fist on the table and be like, no guys, it has to make it in. It's like, no, it was really good, but it was great even, but it's not like fist pumping. Yeah. Like this one, you're writing this one down right now kind of thing.
It's not a, I mean, granted I'm sitting here with 2 friends, but it's not necessarily a tell a friend match or show.
Yeah. It's not like, oh man, you got to see this one.
I mean, my catchphrase is, when you watch Japanese wrestling, and I'm kind of like, I mean, if you want to watch some Japanese wrestling.
Yeah, there's like half of the show is worth watching, but it's not stop everything right now and watch.
Good. Where's the smart marks at? All right, fuck you.
I think it's time we smark it up. So what are some of the best moments of the show?
The NWO fake out was pretty funny. Not something you typically see in Japan, or that we typically see in Japan. It was a a little.
You talking about the
funny
tag match?
Yeah, that was kind
where
of funny.
he comes out with the shirt.
Yeah. I really loved seeing those two big boys just toss those guys around in the tag match. Love Kojima every time I see him, but I mean, the junior heavyweight match and then the story told in the last match was great. I love to see Sasaki, go from being Power Warrior to having the heavy belt and pulling it out at the end with a bum leg was really, really cool. But that match it had just a tiny more juice.
Yeah,
I feel bad to say because it was an incredible wrestling match. But
the first match, something about I keep wanting to call him
Kendo?
Shane. Yeah,
Kendo was awesome.
He just stood out as look at me, I'm a star. I'm a big, bright, shining star.
Yeah. He had something to prove, and I think that he absolutely did it.
You'll definitely see him quite a bit over the next couple of years.
That makes me
That's
happy.
exciting, yeah, because I was like, all right, this guy has it. Of all, there's so many great wrestlers on this show, but he was the one that had like the sparkle in his eye this evening.
Because that's all you could see were his eyes.
That's how it's it, yeah.
I mean, Iizuka getting the win over Choshu, letting his former tag partner get the win on his
I would say that was
his way out.
Most surprising for me personally, just because I am stupid and I didn't realize it was Iizuka. Which makes me feel silly.
He looks quite different.
Yeah, okay. Well, that makes me feel a little bit better. But still, like him, just Chono taking a loss before Liger was a surprise enough. But hearing the backstory of it makes it a lot cooler and more charming and meaningful.
Muto's beard. I'm a fan of that.
I mean,
I don't know if I've ever seen him with, he got some...
The gray...
He goes back and forth.
And I've never seen him with the full beard.
The full beard and bald. I think the entrances are like some of the best entrances you ever get in wrestling are Tokyo Dome main events. Like the entrances for both these guys are just like otherworldly.
How about most disappointing?
Oh, well, we all have the answer for that. Dennis Hurricane Lane breaking his ankle versus a guy that we would rather see. I'd rather have him in a match with a young lion so I could at least get a match with somebody who's as high profile as Shinya Hashimoto. I want to see him and, I know that we like the tag match, but him and somebody like Nagata or Nakanishi or Koji in a singles match where he beats those guys, but, Koji like trying to lift the boulder that is Shinya Hashimoto with a bum leg after it's been kicked for 10 minutes sounds like something I'd love to see. And the fact that it got wasted on a guy who got taken down once and broke his ankle, and that poor idiot probably got a good payday, but he's a kickboxer and he broke his ankle. You don't come back 100% from a broken bone ever, and you broke your ankle and you're a kickboxer. That sucks.
Yeah, I think just the different style fights in general were not my style of fights tonight.
The thing is, I don't think anybody likes it. Like there's no wrestling fan that's like, that's my shit.
I knew the Frye and Ogawa, they end up getting into wrestling more.
That one is much better, but it's still not something I love.
Spoiler alert, both of them end up becoming NWA champions. So they end up getting into more wrestling, and they don't just do these MMA exhibition type things.
That match kind of builds into a thing.
Almost writing notes for an MMA style fight is almost as fun as when I do it for like the boxing matches. It's not fun. It's just like they punch, they take it to the ground.
Chokehold.
They don't, and they're not working they're not working interesting looking wrestling, like catch wrestling stretches on the mat where a guy has to they're not making it compelling because, and that's the idea is that it's real, so it should be compelling. And it's but not in the middle of a wrestling match. And we know that it is half shoot, half work. So it just doesn't, it's just not a thing.
Gonna go back to best moment real fast. I am gonna give New Japan some credit for this on the video itself. It did give us the kind of the backstory of what led to the Frye Ogawa match.
Yeah.
Which is something that we don't ever get to see.
Yeah, rarely.
I'm going to give him a little bit of credit on that.
I mean, the packages here and like the
Chono
stuff.
The Choshu tribute video, I didn't even think about that earlier. But yeah,
all the package stuff was great. There was a little more of it than normal, but it all helped round out the stuff that needed to be rounded out. And I think they could do a little bit more, like with the main event. It's like, all right, well, I know who both these wrestlers are, but what is the feud? Not that there has to be one.
But to Shane's point as well, 7 Yakuza kicks is
a lot.
Is spamming it. There's a reason people booed Roman Reigns for a long time.
Yeah.
Because he's
Superman punch. Yep.
And this is kind of on the same level.
Yeah, and he's like, well, he's a heel, but he's not a heel that's getting booed like out of the room.
Yeah.
Is that where Roman got his inspiration from? Was Chono with the bulletproof vest and everything?
Might be.
Who knows? I think he got his inspiration from his family whenever his football career didn't work out. He's like, well, I can do this.
How about best performer of the night?
We can dark horse Kendo.
Yeah, I gotta give it to Kendo. He's the one that stood out.
I like
to me.
that one.
Yeah, but I mean,
Otani's always a favorite.
I mean,
anytime he shows up,
Otani always steals my heart.
Yeah.
Kojima was always fun. It was fun to see him in a tag match. I get excited seeing him in this era because I even like him to this day. I think he's, of all these guys that are still around, he holds up. He held up the best and still has compelling matches. I think he was recently the Noah champ.
Yeah.
Maybe he still is. I don't know.
No, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't follow Noah closely enough, but he is a believable champ in a smaller promotion.
Know enough.
I don't know enough. That's for sure.
And how about most surprising? I mean, you already said Iizuka winning.
It was
Choshu.
it was Choshu taking a loss before Liger. I mean, he didn't lose to Liger, but before he had.
I'm gonna do big picture. Most surprising, and the fact that we don't have a short list match from a Japan.
Oh yeah, he's playing 3D chess over here.
Yeah,
I mean that's a good point. There's one that I think is awfully close.
Mm-hmm. Missed it by that much.
Yeah, for sure. And even the main event is just like it missed it by a little bit more than the other singles belt did, but potential was there. But it wasn't a hard show for me to watch, but I didn't get as pumped as I do sometimes, where I'm like, yes, yes, yes. There was less exclamation points in my notes than normal.
Making their way to the ring.
It's trivia time.
Oh my gosh.
Fuck, we're back to this.
All right. We got to promise not to go 40 minutes. Sometimes we get crazy.
That's only on the finale.
That's true.
Yeah, we only do that like 4 times, so we're good. This week, the category is the numbers game.
The numbers game.
The numbers game. I'm trying to remember all these.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to involve a number.
Yep.
So, 5 points for whoever gets closest without going over Price is Right rules.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
How many wrestlers did we cover in all of 1995? I'll give you the hint. We had 42 episodes when we covered 1995.
Okay.
So you might want to write these down because someone did the one-up on you last time.
Oh, yeah. You
did
did
Price is Right, pick one?
Yeah. I got mine written down. You want a piece of paper? I don't have my phone with me.
I got it written on my phone.
Okay.
All right.
So Shane, what do you have?
I went for 213.
Oh my God. Mine's 209. That's crazy close.
So did I 4-up you this time?
Oh, you did, but at least it was independent thought.
Because my thought was 60 of them are on World War III.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just went like, 60
World
here,
War
and then 45 here,
Yeah.
and then for some reason 213 sounded like a good ending spot.
Dang. Yeah, I had to 209 was just the number that immediately popped in my head. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to go with it. I'm not going to overthink this. Shane's going to win, though. Let's hear
5 points for Shane.
Okay.
But what's our number?
As the number was 247.
Oh, shit.
That's not that bad. That's not
You guys are getting better at this one.
I was
Yeah.
actually... Yeah.
It's that first season.
Yeah, we had some silly...
What, 54?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're idiots. But yeah. All right. Yeah.
Hey, we're off to a good start.
Yeah, for sure.
Next week, the first episode of WCW Thunder.
Welcome to the B Show.
Well, yeah, because I guess
It's not the B show when
Saturday's
it starts.
been the B
I know.
show.
I'm just kidding. I'm just being a jerk. It's okay.
Yeah, it's Thunder. It's welcome.
You ever play the Thunder PlayStation 1 video game?
Yes.
Like one of the worst wrestling games of all time.
Yes, it is.
It's really bad.
But, yeah, is that foreshadowing?
No. I'm just a thing that popped in my head.
Thunder. We're already there, huh?
Yep.
I always forget that Thunder happened before SmackDown.
Yeah.
So music from this week's show is The Score by Emerson, Lake and Powell. And Kazuki Sasaki won our main event, so we play Take the Dream by Blue Steeler.
Yeah, we do.
And if you like this episode or any of our other ones, please go out there, rate and review us on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you find your podcast at. Do as Michael says.
5 stars or no stars. Don't waste your time. Don't be a jerk.
And if you have any questions, comments, concerns,
People, we are going to Daytona Beach next for Thunder. I'm always asking for suggestions, food, beverage. We had some great feedback here recently from a fella named Mike. Appreciate the love and the suggestions for, I don't remember where it was. San Diego. That's where it was,
A whale's vagina.
Yes, we had a whale's vagina for sure on that show as far as food goes, and Mike sent us a bunch of other suggestions, so much appreciated.
next time we're in California or San Diego,
Yeah.
probably use some of those.
Perhaps, yeah, give me some ideas.
Arizona, Florida, you do a margarita with a cocaine rim instead of salt.
But for God's sakes, don't bring out Skittles, because apparently that sends Floridians into a panic.
Oh, really?
Because, it's the rainbow, and the rainbow stands for being gay.
Oh,
Yeah, anywho, give me some ideas for food for Florida. Slide into our DM, shoot us an email, something. Love to hear from you.
yeah. Or just food from wherever you live.
That too. Give me some ideas. We're on 4 years of me trying to find stuff, so anything helps.
Yeah. There's only so many sandwiches.
But you can do any of those things to our email at wrestlinghistoryx@gmail.com or find us on X at WrestlingHistoX. That's Wrestling HISTO X. We'll talk to you next week.
I don't know how the song goes, so later.